Thank you.
All right.
Okay,
David comment?
no, he is not. This meeting of the Hornell Industrial Development Agency is called to order. Chairman Parmalee could not make it today. His flights is on his way, but we still do have a quorum. And with that, we have the secretary's report. Is there a motion to approve that report?
So moved.
So is there a second? Second by John. Are there any questions on the secretary's report? Being none, all in favor?
Aye.
All ayes. You also have the treasurer's report in front of you. Are there any questions on the treasurer's report?
You have 2 months financials because we didn't have a meeting last month. Only one thing, if you look at the financials, the profit and loss, it looks like the utilities are gigantic. That's not the case. Because we get reimbursed some, I'm going to put it the right way before the end of the year. That's offset by income up above. It shouldn't be in the income. It shouldn't have been there. It's just a wash because it's the Alston buildings that we lease. They pay their own utilities. So that 27,000 is way off. We run about 1,500 a month. But you'll see it in the budget, because in the budget, the number is much lower for 225, but that's why. Except in the budget, it never got counted in the income. So that's the only thing that's really out of line.
Any other questions or concerns from you, Mike?
No.
No. We have the motions. Are there any other questions or comments? Being none, all in favor?
Aye. Aye.
All ayes. That brings us to committee reports. First is the audit committee.
Yes. In August, we paid bills out of the operating account for the amount of $66,663.09. And in September, paid bills out of the operating account of $33,263.57. And out of the escrow account, $84,506.34.
Thank you for that report. I don't believe there's anything from the personnel committee. Is there anything from governance?
No report.
No reports. Is there a motion to approve that audit report?
So moved.
Motion by Rick, second by John. Any questions on the audit report? If not, all in favor?
Aye.
All ayes, passed. Executive director's report.
I'd like to just do a short executive session first to discuss our tunnels building.
Okay.
I'll make that motion.
Motion by John, second by Rick. Any questions? All in favor?
Aye.
told me,
Motion
I'll get you
to
quote.
enter back into regular session.
I'll make a motion.
Motion by Ed, second by John. Any questions? All in favor?
Aye.
All ayes. We are now back in regular session. With that, we have a pair of motions in regards to the,
You're gonna have the budget too, Dan, is another motion. to approve the budget.
you want to do that one first? So,
Okay.
okay.
Everybody have a chance to review it.
Mhm.
Like I said, the only thing, if you compare this to your regular financials, it shows the utilities twice, they're not. So Austin pays and we don't. So in the budget, they're not in the revenue, they shouldn't be in the stuff here. That's really our figure for what we pay for our,
It's a wash.
it's a lot.
Okay, you have before you the 2025 budget. You've had that in your email to review. Is there a motion to approve the 2025 budget?
I'll make a motion.
Motion by Ed, second by Rick. Any questions or comments on the budget? All in favor?
Aye.
All ayes. Thank you. Now we have a pair of motions in regards to the Tunnel and Rockwell building. First motion is to award a bid for the removal of the existing granite panels from the facade of the building located at 103, 113 Main Street, Cornell, New York, to LaChase Construction, in the amount of $99,900. Is there a motion to approve?
So moved.
Motion by Rick, second by John. Is there any questions on this resolution? Being none, all in favor?
Aye.
All ayes. Passed. Second motion is to award a bid for the removal and disposal of asbestos containing caulk from the facade panels on the building located at 103, 113 Main Street, which is the Tunnels building, to LaChase Construction in the amount of $53,136,000. Motion to so moved. Motion by Rick, second by Ed. As we discussed, these panels contain asbestos. It's actually a pretty good price regarding asbestos removal. He had mentioned that he was pleasantly surprised how low the price was. I was as well, having dealing with asbestos and some of the different projects, even the sidewalk projects. The numbers sometimes can be staggering when dealing with asbestos. So that's a good number there. So we have the motions. Any questions or comments on this motion?
Question. So you said they need a 10-day,
They do.
That's the Department of Labor.
right?
Yeah. So anytime there's a structure, being torn down that has to do with asbestos, there's always a 10-day wait.
And then they can get started.
Give him the go-ahead, he will apply for the permit. Once he puts the permit on the front, it's 10 days. They will be on it on the 11th day, as long as it's a weekday, because I don't want to pay them overtime.
Okay.
But they're raring to go. I think it would be down now if it wasn't for the environmental issue. These guys have gone high, and they went above the call already, because he actually went out and got the quotes on the asbestos when I wasn't here. So Fred Thompson, Thompson's they've done a lot of extra work for us. So. The other thing I'd like to put in the minutes, this was an emergency situation. It should say that in the minutes. Margie, you hear me? Okay.
It is a public safety issue because those panels, and I have no idea, what each panel weighs, but one of them were to dislodge and
Between 162 and 200. That's what one panel weighs.
Wow. Man,
And
That would
there's a
be
fear it could cause a domino effect as well.
massively, yeah.
Come down. So, needs to be done. So,
Okay.
we have the motions. Any further questions on this particular motion? Being none, all in favor?
Aye.
All ayes, thank you. I guess the related, Mike, the question I have is are they putting on a temporary facade afterward?
They're going to come to us with what they have to do, because it's not in the bid.
Once they see it, it's going to be.
All they're going to do is
Yeah.
they will come back and maybe they'll say it's safe now. There's nothing. It's fine. But if they come back and say, well, you got to do this and do not a whole facade, but actually just
But
make
there's
it.
temporary facades that they could put on.
And they could, and if that was the cheapest way out, they would do that.
We'll need to discuss that.
That'll be a whole new proposal.
Yeah, as we get into this, we'll have to discuss that, because once they take those panels down, you don't know what it's going to look like. I mean, we could speculate or have some ideas what's behind there, but I think we're probably going to have to look at doing some sort of temporary facade. So the city hall building, for instance, we're going to remove those granite panels because we're running into a similar situation, albeit on a much smaller scale. So those granite panels on the front of City Hall are going to come off, and what we'll do in the meantime is have a temporary fix or covering over it. It'll aesthetically, look okay, but it won't be the permanent fix. The permanent fix will be next year because we're getting into the cold weather. So
The way they construct just take, for example, the new Tim Hortons, what's on the outside is an interesting thing. It's almost like a vinyl over a metal framing, and then it's a durable canvas type of stuff with a coating on it. So maybe something like that. I would think it would be fairly inexpensive. If it was going to be like that for a year or two, it wouldn't be outrageous. So
I think it just depends what's there when they get it off. And if this holds it, fine.
I'm guessing it's going to be pretty ugly,
Bricks falling
but
off either after.
They're only looking at a couple days to get the panels off the building.
Yeah, he told me a week at the outset, a work week, at the outset. And even with the asbestos issue, and they got to work right with them. So the
asbestos will slow them down.
Yeah.
That'll slow them down.
But I said, well, the abaters, you're gonna work on, and he said, yeah, I got to, because once we take that putty off, I don't know if they're gonna start falling off. We gotta be there with them. But then he's got guys trained. Well, Chase has guys trained to handle it, and they have to go through the hazmat. And we had them too, because we did a lot of that, and they'll wear their gear, but then you have the actual abatement company with them.
So then just to reiterate, they're gonna be coming back for another bid because this does exclude the
Yeah.
temporary weather
When we
protection
just-
and facade.
Yeah, because we don't know what it is. We don't have a clue what it is. And it may, and like I said, it may be, we may take that off and find that the building's perfectly safe. There's nothing to fall off, and then you make your decision how you want to go forward. All I said is, when it comes off, it's got to be safe for us to open the sidewalk.
Yeah.
Be able to use the entrance.
Yeah, there's really two parts to that. You have to make sure the building is safe and secure. And then the second thing is, aesthetically, what's tolerable, or what do we want it to look like in the meantime before we move forward, or whatever we're going to, whatever it'll eventually be. So, okay. That's all the resolutions we have. Any old business?
I know.
I have one thing on old business. The sidewalk, are we okay now with that?
Yeah, we're okay because I have one quote on it right now. And frankly, I'm going to bring it to that, and I'd like to award it. I put it out for bid. Only one bid was compliant. Can't keep doing this. The only one who had a compliant bid was Chris McCarroll. The prices were about, except there was his bid, and there was one other bid that wasn't 2/3 of it. So I got two of them right together, and one of them way less. That can't be right. And being in business before, we would have just thrown out, because it's just not close enough. There's something they're not doing.
So are we able to move forward now then? Or?
I'll come with his numbers next time. But we can award him if he can do it in the spring. I just want to make sure he knows his price. But he wasn't the highest, he wasn't the lowest, but he was the only compliant.
So the only compliant bid.
Yeah. But we went, we've got to get to that point on bidding today. You got to be compliant, because otherwise this can go on forever, and it's frankly unfair. If you say, I want this bid, and only one guy gives you what you asked for, he's the only compliant bidder. And in my other life, it was automatic. You weren't compliant, you were gone. But we got 3 bids. The other 2 just weren't. And the one scares the hell out of me, and it just too far off. You got 2 of them right there, and then you got one that's not even close.
Not close, too high or too low?
Too low. It just can't be done.
So is this a situation where we're awarding the bid because it's the only one that's compliant? We're just awarding it pending? I mean, do we need a resolution awarding pending?
I'll come with the numbers next time, and we'll do it at the next meeting. And that will be.
This will be next year's.
That will be my recommendation. Yeah.
We're getting too far into the season.
But that's the other, will you hold your number until April, May, when you can get there? Stern proving fine, because one of the issues we had is they wanted different things. So when I'll come back, it'll be two ways. It'll be basic, or it'll be basic with other, additional things. Then we'll decide what the IDA can do or are willing to do. And if we're not willing to do number one, or both of them, or the higher price, and then here's what we're gonna do, which I think we're gonna do anyway, because the thing is, the road, it's bad, there's some potholes. So if we're willing to only do the basic, and it's about twice as much if you do the whole thing. None of it's astronomical. It doesn't cost anywhere near what I thought it would be by adding these green spaces and things and all these curbing. And frankly, contractors, they don't like nothing to do with curbing. They really don't.
Curbing is kind of specialty work.
So I got, and
It's tedious unless you have a machine.
but the bid that made sense was Picaro. It made sense. And it was fully compliant. Another bid didn't have all the curbing included. He did. But it was bid on a drawing. It was very self-explanatory. The bid should have met the RFP, and they didn't. His did. So, and like I said, I think it's you can't keep going out on that thing. It's unfair. If somebody's a compliant bidder and others aren't, you're giving somebody else, it's not right. I don't think.
Well, I mean, that's why, you have bid docs that go out, and when they submit, you have to.
But what I'll show you guys, we'll do a governance committee, and then.
I was gonna say, why
See if you
do we have to
agree.
wait a month for the
I
next meeting?
don't have the numbers ready. I can't.
So can we make a proposal just to somehow get that approved?
Well, I think we need to see the bid first.
No, just for the numbers.
Yeah, just for the
And there's gonna be
numbers,
there's gonna be, we either approve one or approve two. One at the lower cost, two at the other. And then I will give the option if a private company wants to pay the difference, we'll do it that way. If we may say, no, we'll do it all. That's the thing.
So general rule of thumb, when you have a bid opening, you award it to the lowest, most responsible bidder.
Yeah.
So responsible obviously would be in compliance with the bid docs.
Right.
So that's to say, if you have a bid, you have your bid docs, someone submits, but they don't address, a certain portion of the, the requirements, then, or they fill it out incorrectly.
See, you go back to my old, you do it like that, or they protest and you get beat because it's gonna cover my money. And they protest sometimes, stop right. Sure they can with you too.
Yeah.
If you're
There's a
dealing,
procedure.
yeah, if you're dealing with the government, you can't, if you say you're gonna take the lowest compliant, you gotta do it. And you can't give people other chances. Well, I didn't
Lowest
understand that,
responsible,
it didn't
so it gives you a
matter.
little leeway.
Because if one guy can bid against what you handed them, they all should be able to.
Okay, so
Agree, yeah.
we'll table that until the next meeting.
Yeah.
Okay.
But you
That's
guys
wonderful.
will have an opinion. That's my opinion. We've got a guy,
Yeah, as far as physical work, we're
Yeah.
probably looking at next year.
yeah, he said, well, maybe not. I don't know. Because he asked me
it's-
where we were today.
Unless he,
But initially.
You got nice weather next week.
well,
I
here's
just
the
asked
thing,
if he knows price.
unless we award the bid today.
I mean, how close, you got numbers here? You got the bids here?
I do not. Oh, yeah, I have his, but I want to put it together with all of them. And then one more time, I want to compare and make sure. I know I'm right, but
Here's the thing, if we wait until November to award it, and he wants to do it this year, you're gonna be into winter concrete, which will drive the cost up. Because you're running out of time
Yeah,
to
you start
use
putting the-
regular
yeah.
concrete.
Well, if you guys
get into
take-
cold
if you-
weather,
That's where I'm
winter
like-
concrete.
We call special meeting.
if you're,
We can.
yeah, why don't we do it? If you guys don't kick,
I have no problem doing a special meeting. If I
my
like, I'll do it next week.
recommendation is this. And I can bring you his numbers, and if you're good with it, I don't care. It means nothing to me. If we approved it today, it wouldn't bother me.
You think you can-
I have his
think you can do
numbers.
it? You think he'll do it this year?
I don't think he will, because I asked him if he would
That's what
hold,
he has on his plate.
I asked him if he would hold his number till next spring, and he's aware. He said he would.
All right.
Okay, that's old business, new business. Okay. Motion to adjourn.
Make a motion?
By Ed, second by John. Any questions? All in favor?
Aye.
All ayes, we are now adjourned.
We have to have
Industrial.
for the budget. but you-
Yep. We'll transition into the next meeting. This meeting of the Cornell Industrial Development Corporation is called to order. Chairman Parmalee is not here today, so I'll be running the meeting. We do have everyone else in attendance. We do have a quorum. I'll entertain a motion to accept the secretary's report.
So moved.
Motion by Rick, second by John. Any questions on the secretary's report? Being none, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
All ayes. You also have the treasurer's report for your reading pleasure. Entertain a motion to approve. Motion by John, second by Ed. Any questions on the treasurer's report? Being none, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
All ayes. John, do you have an audit committee report?
Yes. In March, we paid out $800. In April, $2,000. In May, $6,150.
Thank you. Nothing from personnel, anything from government? Bless you.
No, thank you. No report.
No further reports. Is there? I'll entertain.
Oh, the only thing, treasurer report, the only thing you have in your packet, I think it's the September balance sheet. It put every month, but I want to prove it. You can say today or by, doesn't matter. There's nothing, I need to go month to month. You're approving September, you're approving everything behind it.
Mhm.
And I didn't think you wanted 100 pages. If you want to see any certain, just ask, okay?
Mhm.
But that's all it was.
So we just have the one report. Is there a motion to approve that report?
So moved.
Motion by Rick, second by Ed. Any questions? All in favor?
Aye.
All ayes. Executive Director's report.
That's the only thing I have is the 25
Just
budget.
the budget.
Which you have, which is, like I said, much to it.
It's pretty straightforward. It was in all of our emails earlier in the week to review. Is there a motion to approve the budget? Motion by Rick, second by John. Any questions on the 2025 Industrial Development Corporation budget? Being none, all in favor? All ayes. No new business. Any old business? New business? Motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Motion by Rick, second by Ed. All in favor?
Aye.
All ayes, we are adjourned.